Hey guys, I'm Niko Everett and I'm talking to you today about stress and overwhelm. So I coach some incredible clients, people who are running massive ventures and businesses. But here's the deal. It's like if you're constantly struggling underneath a blanket of stress and overwhelm, it really does start to take a toll on the quality of work that you're producing. And so one of the things that I spend a lot of time looking at with my clients is how do we start to control some of the stress and the overwhelm? So first I want to just define for you, like, what is stress? What does it actually mean? So stress really is this sense that you do not have control over the forces that are shaping your life, okay? And what I want to talk to you about today is that there are some really specific things that you do have control over when it comes to stress and overwhelm. And I want to talk to you about those so that if you are experiencing a sense of stress or overwhelm in your life, you can take hold of these things and control life where you can control life. All right, so let's talk about these 4 areas. So the first area I want to talk about is start and end of day. So especially for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, it's really easy to feel like we have to have a 24-hour business, right? We need to be open all the time. We need to be responsive to customers constantly. But I would tell you that that is not true. After running my own ventures multiple times and after coaching hundreds of incredibly successful entrepreneurs and leaders, it just is not true. So one thing that you can control is your business hours. Your business hours are up to you. So when does your business open and when does it close? Even if, like me, you run a consulting practice, right? That means when do you sit down in the morning and when do you get up at the end of the day? So I tell all of my clients, I want to know, and I want it written down. I create a document with them. I want it written down. My business hours are. And 85% of the time, I want you holding true to those business hours as if you had a shop and you had to turn the open sign and you had to turn the close sign. And those office hours were on your website and on your Yelp review, okay? So I want you to really take a moment here and write down for yourself, what are your business hours? What are your office hours? And for me, what I like to do is I like to say, this is really when I start to conduct business in the morning. It's when I end business at night. And then I have a little window in the evening because I realized, if I get up from my desk at 6 o'clock every night and I go spend time with my family and alone and I get a good night's sleep, I do have that sort of sneaking fear that, gosh, I need to check my email. And so I would just be out of integrity. And I'd get kind of sucked back in. So instead, I created a structure around that. And I do the same with my clients. I create a structure around how many minutes at the end of the evening, not the very end, but toward the end of the evening, I want to check back in. So I want you to do the same for yourself. Do you need a little window, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, not a lot of time, not so much time you can really get sucked back in, to just check in, make sure there's no fires that need to be put out, okay? So what are your office hours? What are your business hours? And then what's the little window that you might need at the end of the day to just make sure nothing's on fire? And what are the boundaries you're going to put in place so you don't get sucked right back in, okay? So this is one way that you can start to control your stress. Now, one thing I really like to recommend is that around your start and end of day, to create a ritual so that you're really indicating to yourself, your body, your mind that day is on and day is going off. But also to the people around you, that you're opening or closing your shop, okay? So in the morning, I strike a match and I light a candle. And in the evening, I turn off a lamp that's on my desk. And my son knows that lamp goes off, business is closed, right? And sometimes he'll come in and be like, Mom, turn off the lamp already, man. Like, it's past 6. And I know, I'm out of integrity. I got to turn the lamp off. And we blow out the candle. So what are your rituals? Start of day, end of day. Okay. So that's the first area that you really can control around overwhelm and stress. The second area I want to talk to you about is how you have a mindset about your stress. So we can feel stressed and then we can have thoughts about feeling stressed, right? So we can be like, Okay, I'm having this experience of being out of control around the things that shape my life. That's the actual stress. And then we can think about it. Holy, I am really stressed out. Like I am totally in overwhelm. And you're telling your friends, I'm like totally overwhelmed. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. Ah! Or there's alternative ways of thinking about it. So for me, I really started to take on a different practice. And my practice is I get stressed out, I get overwhelmed, absolutely. And the practice is I notice it and I call it something different. So I say like life is feeling really full. Man, it is getting super full. Like, wow, my cup is starting to run over. So I start to name it things that feel more positive for me, but that also indicate for me, I gotta stop and I've gotta start to readjust because I don't want that cup to start like, really getting out of control. So how are you holding your stress? What's the language you're using that's reverberating back into your body and into your mind that you're good or you're bad? Because your language has a huge impact. So if you're saying like, dude, why am I so stressed out and overwhelmed all the time? You're kind of consistently telling yourself this message that you're a screw up. Okay? So that's number 2. So the third thing I want to talk to you about that you have control over around your stress is silence. Let's just have a little bit of silence. So we live in the era of overwhelm and information. And there is literally no silence in our day and in our lives. Like none. You have control over whether or not you experience silence. And I won't go way into what happens in our brains, but when we're in a sense of stress, we live in our reptilian brain, our amygdala. That's fight or flight. It's cortisol releasing. It ages us. And when we get silent, we move into our prefrontal cortex. That's where we reason really well, where we feel calm, where we feel empowered, where we feel creative. Silence moves us quickly from that reptilian brain to that really beautiful brain. So I encourage you to think about all the ways that you can get yourself some silence during the day. And I would say probably the number 1 way is to deal with your phone. So your phone is really like a black hole, right? You go in there for entertainment, you go in there for work, you go in there, you think maybe to soothe yourself, you go in there to watch TV, you go in there to social media, you go in there to text. There's so much you go in there for. And I would venture to say that pretty much your phone only will increase your sense of stress and overwhelm. And that the more you silence your phone, the more you will decrease your sense of stress and overwhelm. So I encourage you to look at how can you create some boundaries around your phone and how frequently can you leave it at home? I know, it's crazy. And how frequently can you turn it off? So that's silence. Okay, the last thing I want to talk to you about in terms of what you can control when it comes to your own sense of stress and overwhelm and anxiety is who you're allowing in. So you've got your friends, you've got your family, you've got your clients. So maybe your family, your immediate family, maybe you don't have that much control over them, let's just say for now. But I really want you to think about, for sure, your friends. Who are you spending time with? Who's taking up the most amount of time in your calendar? And how much do they increase your stress? And how much do they decrease your stress? And I really want you to notice the quality of conversation and the quality of time that you spend with them. So the next time you spend time with anybody beside yourself and maybe your immediate family, I really want you to notice, how does your body feel? How does your mind feel when you're with them? Do you feel that like sense of peace and just like you can really kind of chill with them? Do you feel better about yourself? Do you feel at home or not? And if not, I encourage you to think thoughtfully about how much time you want to be spending with those people. Okay, That's what I got for you today on stress and overwhelm and what you do have control over. So good spending time with you. I've got some more information on this on my website. That info is down in the description. I'm Niko Everett, and it is my great and dearest honor to spend time with you. Much love, my friends. I'll see you soon. Bye.